All right, I do believe we are live. If you can hear me, please comment and let me know that you can hear me. I know our last live video we struggled with the volume, so I'm hoping today we're off to a good start. Another thing, guys, it's very cold. Even here at my cat rancho, because I rescue cats, we've been stoking fires around the porch to keep everybody warm when they go out to do their business. And so that's what I'm going to be doing after I get out of this video. Anyways, let me make a few introductions and we'll get started with the video. My name is Jay. I'm the owner of Section8Consultant.com. Our company works with people that have a difficult time navigating the system. And what I mean by the system, I mean when you're seeking housing and addressing attempts to get a voucher, those that are homeless, veterans, seniors, or anybody that's trying to get the U.S. government to subsidize part of their rent. And as part of this process to subsidize, in most cases, you would be paying 30% of whatever you receive or whatever fixed income you receive. And then the subsidy would be the 70% through the housing authority, project, or whatever type of service that you choose to go with. I think today we're going to start with a few updates, and then we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper, and we're going to talk about services our company offers. Imagine doing this for 20 years. And the client brought up the other day, well, Jay, it's wonderful you have scheduling software for your company and all that, but you never actually come out and explain services. Now, I did make a video the other day, but for those that are new, if you're struggling with something a little bit more difficult or beyond you, or maybe your efforts have not yielded the results you're looking for, or maybe you're tired of roaming around Google or listening to people in the neighborhood about rumors of things that may or may not be true, sometimes having a consultant or an expert speak on that can help you kind of resolve issues, dispel rumors, because I know a lot of things about the system. People have learned from decades prior in the 80s, the system doesn't work that way anymore. And so we can give you some clarity. So before I do that, I want to talk about our video schedule. 2024, we're very serious about scheduling and letting people know when videos are going to happen and what they're about. And so I just want to run through this real quick. You can notate it also in the description of this video. So Mondays, we're going to be doing a 60-second short video, and that's to kind of give you what's going to roll out for that week. My goal on YouTube has always remained the same for the past 15 years, and that is to educate, empower, and help you guys absolve yourself of problems or seek out housing in a much more efficient manner than taking the good advice of the housing authority. So Mondays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Texas time, and we'll have a 60-second format. We'll go over everything very quickly. That way you'll know what's coming up. That way if you don't want to attend or join, you don't have to. You can just wait till the video that you like most and then come then. Tuesdays, 10 a.m. again, Central Standard Texas time. We'll be doing the how-tos and what is. These are educational videos that get strictly to the point, and I think that most of you are here for that type of purpose. Thursdays, I call it Spicy Thursday. I'm widely known not just for being a consultant and an expert, but I'm also known for using profanities liberally, and sometimes topics become sensitive. There are many things that affect housing, and sometimes a little bit of realism is required in videos, though it may not be in good taste. That's okay. It's my channel, and that's how I choose to administer it. So Thursday Spicy is at 2 p.m. Central Standard Texas time. I advise you come. It's entertaining at the very least if you're bored by videos. Every Sunday is what we're doing here, and that's at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm starting early, 15 minutes early, because we're facing wind chills at around 10 degrees today, later today. And then when you have 30 cats, rescue cats, you have to keep things safe. And that's what we're going to be doing after this video. All right, now that I'm going to the video schedule, let's talk about services. Most of you have already seen links both in the description and in the comments section when I get time. And for those of you that just need some simple but quick advice, you can navigate to our booking, and we offer 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 1 hour. Now, clearly, most people only need about 15 minutes. If you need a little bit more in depth, or you feel you need to add more to the story or explain your story, 30 minutes would be appropriate. For those of you that have a complex story, complex case, maybe you're dealing with issues regarding your housing authority not being fair with you or your landlord, that generally is more appropriate. For those of you that don't want to spend money for a short call, then the fourth option you'll see when you go to the booking software is casework. Casework is where we take over 97% of your case. Clear, we can't sign your name, but the whole goal there is to seek out housing, vouchers, subsidies, and emergency housing. If that is the issue that you're facing and your efforts have yielded you nothing, then unless you just need to speak with me or my office for skepticism reasons or other reasons, then I would advise you not to waste your money with a short call. Just book the casework. For those that need further proofs or want documentation for our company, we're happy to provide that. And we do partner with law firms around the nation. All right, so we're past that. One more thing, and then we're going to move into the primary video. Memberships, I offer them, okay? And I want to make it very clear, these memberships are there if you enjoy our content and you want to contribute a little bit. I don't want you guys spending a bunch of money on memberships. We offer them for as low as $2.99. This is just something as a level of gratitude or appreciation. And really that money will just be spent on the cats, okay? So if you are a pet lover or you enjoy that type of thing, then do know where your money's going. If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to get a membership. The membership doesn't really offer much because I'm a busy guy, but it does offer you a really neat badge. I'm always going to recognize you as you join. Outside of that, that would be the limit. All right, I want to welcome a few people that have joined our live chat. Please do know whether you're on TV, phone, or so on. You can chat with me right now. You may ask any questions you'd like related to housing, Section 8, federal programs. There's very few things that I don't have an understanding for, whether it's titles, procedures, policies, and so on. If you just want to watch, and then maybe next video. So Annie Hamel, thank you for being a member. I was not selected for a random waiting list in Sacramento housing. Should have been put back on the waiting list? Well, it depends. Housing authorities issue vouchers based on preferences or need. So it's not desire that they issued for you desire one, but rather the needs and what they're funded to do so. If Congress and HUD have allocated funds and money for the homeless or the veterans or so on, they'll open a list to everybody, but the reality of it is they may only issue vouchers for what they're funded to do at that time. That can rapidly change in days, weeks, and even months. If you're fortunate enough to have multiple issues going on in your life, maybe you're a veteran, a senior, and disabled all at the same time, and they have funding for all three, it means you can pull from 3 different levels of funding, which gives you a much higher ratio or opportunity to enjoy a voucher. If it is a lottery, you have the same chances you do with a scratch off. There's nothing that our office can do to affect or influence lotteries. It's only non-lotteries that we can really help you with, because a lottery, they just pick anybody. They don't care if you're a healthy 18-year-old or if you're extremely disabled in 99. We have a guest here that would like to see you guys. This is one of our cats. He is my leader. This is Mr. Pops. Pops has been with a long time. Very gentle soul. He loves attention. So this is one of my office managers. He's a loyal Kiki, right, Papa? So Pops will probably stay till he wants to bounce, and we'll just see. So I want to talk about a little bit of the avenues that we have to consider, and when we in the pursuit of housing, regardless of who you are, the problems you have. I think the first thing is understanding what roads you can travel and what's most appropriate. So, housing authorities, when you apply for a lottery, or you're just applying and it's not a lottery, they fundamentally only offer really 2 things. They can give you a voucher, or they can give you project-based housing. Now, most people that have been around my channel long enough understand that I don't solicit project-based housing, because that ends up being a rougher situation for most people. Most people just trying to have a family, go into life and live normally, and project-based housing in its setting is not very good. I recommend getting a voucher. So if they offer you project-based housing, I would suggest that you probably run as far away as you can. I would sign up just strictly for vouchers. Now, a voucher is just a voucher. Now, it can be funded many different ways. We've talked extensively about Section 811, which is a subsection of HUD code or federal regulation on Title 24, which allows those that are 18 to 61 to receive a voucher based on disability. You have a mainstream voucher for just general people. And again, there's a long list. But the goal here today is not to talk about the list and how it's funded for vouchers, but rather the road you travel. So project-based housing's out. looking at a voucher is a really good idea because no matter where you go, you can keep moving that voucher. Second to that, for those of you that have complex lives, and you may be homeless or struggling, maybe some events happened and you lost a lot, and your situation has become dire, then we may consider CES, or what they call Coordinated Entry System. Now, that is under a Congress funded program called Continuum of Care. Continuum of Care is administered through testing like SPDAT or SPDAT, as well as the BOSS system, which is BOSS. And what it is rather than you putting ink to an application, it is a worker asking you questions and then you're answering and then they're assessing. Based on that assessment, they can generally offer you about one or four things. In my opinion, only one's worth pursuing. But this road of emergency housing voucher is a certain option that I would recommend for those that are in a serious situation. It's also a good bridge voucher. In other words, while you're working towards a goal of the much more permanent and better voucher from the housing authority, you can go to CES and pick up an emergency housing voucher, which is a little bit less. It does the same thing. So, number one, it can offer you shelter and shelter plus. In other words, you take off to the shelter, free yoga mat or all the socks and people with attitude and smell funky sometimes. That's option number one through CES. Option number two, rapid rehousing, young families and with not a great deal of problems. Maybe some event has happened that has put them out of their home or put them in a situation. And this would allow you over a period of 1 to 2 years. Oh, looks like he's ready to pull. Well, you laying down, Pops, or you stand? This would allow you to get back on your feet over a 1 to 2 year period. It's going to give you rent at first to cover all the rent. And as you go on month by month, they will continue to pay less and less your rent, which becomes a really good option for those of you that have the ability to recover. This is not a good option necessarily for those that are retired. Now, many people suffer from grave mental health issues. It doesn't mean that a person, just because a person's schizophrenic or bipolar, does not function. That's simply not true. We have plenty of relatives that have issues. And for some, it means living in detriment because they're maybe not that functional. For others, they're high functioning, but they have difficulties. So what they can offer for those that are under detriment, or you're out there and you're not able really to keep a job for too long and your life's kind of up and down, it would be permanent supportive housing. That would be most appropriate for those that suffer from grave mental health issues where it's unlikely you would be able to maintain the jobs and housing on your own. And this would be a good option for you. I'm going to take a sip of my cold coffee here. Yeah, it's a jug. It takes a lot to live my life, trust me. All right. Last being emergency housing voucher. Many of you have become acquainted with the term over the years, the last 20 years, that housing authorities issued those. But the pandemic did a very interesting thing. It overwhelmed housing authorities. So they split and divided that program out of it and then gave it over to CES. So, come on, Pops. You're getting too heavy, baby. You're almost 15 pounds. Come on. I try as much as I can to hold counts, but they're like full grown babies. So I'm cricking my neck talking. All right. So look at the emergency housing voucher now issued by CES, and that situation for that would determine incomes, fixed income, and so on. You would need to have a number of problems going on with you. Some of the primary factors that this emergency housing voucher will kick out, or you can receive it for, is those that deal with domestic violence issues, those that are strictly homeless, and those that have grave disability or developmental delays. Okay. And in that situation, there's a potential to get that. I know that our company's had a lot of success with it because we have the manuals. We already are clear about what questions are going to be asked. We also know what kind of answers are acceptable. And I should warn you, a hard luck story or trying to achieve sympathy through our organization is not going to be sufficient to win this. In most cases, I would advise reaching out to a company like mine, because if you already know what's going to be asked before they ask, you have a much more likely chance or outcome with it. To presume that you can just go in and just guess that this would be a terrible idea. It has a high failure rate for people without manuals. Okay. That's something we can issue to some of you through casework. Sometimes I even tell people to take it on, but it's still advised to work with a consultant if you can. Now, what I'm going to do right now is before we hit the third road, the third avenue in which you can take with housing, I'm going to answer a few of these questions here because I can see she's been a busy bee. They can comment, so let's see if we can address her. All right, Annie. So we see you asked the first question, and it looks like DJ. My PHA is such and such. Texas 901 covers all Texas, not covered under any other PHA. All right, I appreciate that information. Just so you know, when you deal with CES, they assign a 3-digit number, and that's usually how they prioritize their COC or CES manuals, is by number. Now, how relevant that's going to be to most of you aren't even aware how this works. So, thank you for that information, D. But we've been knowing about that for about 2 decades. And a Himmel. I just got a cat that found me. His name is Stanley P. Tater Tot. I like that. We call him Mr. Tater Tot. So I have a real affinity for those who've got pets. Always, if you got a pet or a cat you want to feature on the channel, at least on our community page, do send us a photo. If you're going to text that to our company's line, please be respectful in ours and do understand that texting is strictly prohibited at our company. But in the exception of pictures and pleasantries, it's okay within reason. But I cannot discuss anything related to federal programs by text. It's a great way to have your case closed, and for those that have casework, get terminated. Take another sip of coffee. Now, I want to bring up one short topic. I had a person chime in, and it was clear they were a troll. If I want to cough, fart, throw up, whatever I want to do on my channel, especially when I have the flu, then I'll do so. I'm not going to have a person indicate, dictate, or otherwise in my channel. If you don't like any noise or sickness or illness or any issue we cover, then I would advise taking your phone, drive by a bridge, throw it off there, and then rethink why that you need to have a mental health check. I'm not going to have anybody dictate how or when I make videos either. Let's just be clear about that. It's fun to be anonymous trolls, but you ain't going to do that shit in my channel, okay? And I'm not speaking to anybody here presently. I'm just suggesting that neurotic person that left that comment, don't ever fucking come back to this channel. Seriously. I'm that kind of man. All right, moving on. Dawn Grappini, I believe. Now, I'm guessing a little bit Italian, that last name, if I even said it right, or I'm not sure. So, how do you figure out rent limits for Section 8 in Arizona? Well, the best source for that is usually going to be the fair market rents. Now, FMRs or fair market rents are issued by HUD and also the housing authority. The ones that have a good website should have them listed. If they don't, they can request them. And then, of course, HUD issues those FMRs. Now, if you live in a rural area outside the metropolitan area, it would be what they call SAM fairs or small area fair market rates. And you can sort it by state, then zip code, and then it'll indicate the appreciation, which is basically they look at a sampling of a half-mile radius. So they call that comps or comparables. And at the area, if the greater than the less than, or the greater than or than the less is the best way to say it. But the best way to put it is if the greater number of properties are renting for a certain amount, then they're likely going to follow along those guidelines. If you're a landlord and you're trying to determine the outcome of potentially accepting vouchers, same thing. So fair market rents are very close, within 7% of likely what the housing authority might issue even as a voucher. But the problem with using FMRs to figure out what you might receive in a voucher is cases are complex. There's many things to consider, including composition of the household, incomes, and so on. And so there's a wide range of calculations. Now you can look through income standards in the HUD housing handbook. There's around 200 pages on it. And even then, most housing authorities actually subcontract calculations to other companies. So while I'm only able to give you a broad answer, so you'll have to accept my apology in that arena. There's no way to give you an exacting answer. I am one. I like that. It's an interesting name. Emergency housing or temporary housing. Does that include hotels? Now, we got really used to that concept through the pandemic because at the time, we had a lot of federal money and COVID money, and to get people, to prevent people from going to the street, they were bridging that gap with hotel vouchers. That is since subsided. It's not really available now. In some of your major cities, there may be different versions of hotels. Now, if you are living in the state of New York, if you're living in Arizona, Florida, or California, there's a great potential for that. But I quit tracking it after the federal dollars ran out for that, and that ran out about 8 or 9 months ago. What was left of it? Now, the CES and continuum of care programs that issue that for hotels, they still can do it, but there's not a set system for it without the federal funds. Let's see. DJ goes on to say, I asked a question prior to the state of my PHA, had to break it up due to the limit of the chat characters. Um, Now, I want to make everybody aware. Sometimes you guys may break up chats in here, but I also want to make y'all keenly aware on this live chat here. YouTube, you see my hands are not touching anything, right? YouTube can retract things and not even issue it in the live chat. It can also delay it. I've seen comments show up and people get upset. Oh, you didn't answer my question. That's because the comment didn't literally arrive on my screen until like 10 minutes later. DJ, I'll keep an eye out, and if I see it pop in the chat, and even if you could see it on your end, doesn't mean that I see it. I mean, YouTube does what it wants. All right. I am one goes on. Do I go through you guys if I want to apply for emergency housing? You don't necessarily have to go through us. You can reach out to any continuum of care in the state. However, just keep in mind the system, like many things, is not designed to be fair. And if you don't understand the ins and outs of it, here's the problem. It's a lot like gambling. And I'm not suggesting you need to hire me or a company to do anything for you. I'm only suggesting this. When you call those people and if they assess you and you don't particularly know what the outcome is going to be, and they say they're not going to give you anything based on the answers you've given, they will not hear another answer from you for another 12 months. That's a big gamble because that means you open and close that door that day. So you better be very sure before you contact them. But what you're looking for would be to go into Google, type in continuum of care, the name of your city, your state, and then it should issue some type of list there. Okay. Jordan Bell, good afternoon and welcome to the channel. If my Section 8 covers 100% of my rent, if I transfer it, then will it do the same? Let's talk about moving vouchers from one jurisdiction from another. When I mean jurisdiction is, Jordan, you're living in one county and you're considering moving to another county in that state, or maybe, Jordan, you're going to move it to a different state altogether. Vouchers will be reassessed. In other words, it's one thing there, and when you move it, they're going to reassess it because the market's going to be different. Let's say you're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where I grew up originally, and you get a voucher for $700 and you move to New York. So clearly they would recalculate it to match the market there. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to approve up to 100%. It depends on funding and also housing authorities, which are technically or professionally known as PHA, which is Public Housing Authority. Let's put it this way. Based on probably 20,000 cases in my career, I would tell you in most cases, you'd probably end up, if you get 100% paid now, it would probably be 100%. But I won't disregard the fact that they can recalculate that and maybe offer lower than that. All right. The best way to avert an issue is when you request portability into the forwarding housing authority where you're intending on going. I would make that a very clear question to them as to whether they're going to make it a determination 100% or not, because you don't rather not take the gamble, right? And hopefully you get an answer. I am one. Is there a website where you can see Section 8 properties that are available? Now, I want to talk to you guys about this. I've had many, many people work with our company and those that have not. But the point is, be very, very careful with Google, Yahoo, MSN. People that steal identities, want your credit card details and other things, create websites. And now hackers are a lot better at getting their websites ranked. Housing authorities have very small budgets. That's why their employees are paid virtually nothing. And that's why their turnover rate's real high. About every 2 months, people come and go out of housing, and they don't want to be a caseworker, not for the price they're being paid. And so you can imagine their websites. So unless you Unless the housing authority is funded like LA or New York where they have big dollars, then most housing authority websites are pretty bad. And so the point being is no matter where you look for housing, whether it's a housing authority or another site, which I'm going to tell you, make sure you're looking at .gov, .pha, and if it's an actual website, I'd only recommend two. And we've tested theories because many spam and scam sites outrank the real ones. I'm going to recommend the federal subsidiary for .gov, which would be affordablehousingonline.com. Okay, affordablehousingonline.com. Now, due diligence is still required there. It doesn't mean that fraudulent landlords and people can't get into that system. It just means it has the lowest opportunity of fraud there because it used to be an independent company that was subsidized by the government. Then they merged with Go Section 8 for those you were old school, remember that? And now it's pretty much the primary asset for all housing. The secondary thing is look at private market too. In the old days, that would have been Craigslist. Not a lot of landlords hang out on realestate.com and Zillow and all that. Looks like my office manager's back and needs more petting here. Okay, Papas, you gotta calm down, buddy. I would recommend Facebook Marketplace. Due diligence is required there, but you can find a lot of willing landlords or some that are willing to at least hear you out and see what the process might be. So that's always a good option. Guys, I'll have to hang on just a minute. Looks like my buddy here wants to hop up here while we do the video. Come on, Papa. Because if I don't get him, then he's going to continue to hound the heck out of me. So Pops is going to join us. All right, Bubba. You good? You going to let me work? All right. So let's see. Mickey Money 48. Hello. I love your videos. I took a lot for me to port over, but I did it. And now I'm in a beautiful 5-bedroom home and in a beautiful neighborhood, feeling grateful. A lot of love I owe you in your videos. I appreciate that. One thing I want to say to you guys is anytime that you think for anything, I'm always ingratiated too. I've spent so much of my time, over 1,000 videos. Trust me, I can show you the YouTube paycheck. It isn't enough to even probably pay your car note. So those thanks from you guys make me want to keep coming back each year and teach you guys, try to keep you informed. Looks like my office manager has his own mind of his own today. He would like to go up there and explore all the nice, pretty, shiny things I got up there. We keep changing that. I know we have a lot of clients and people that watch our videos that may have autism, Asperger's, or other on-spectrum issues. And so this kind of helps them focus on a larger picture while I talk, because not everybody can hang with a long conversation, right? Let's pray he doesn't break anything today. We lose about 7% of the things in my home and office to breakage. They're worse than my cats are worse than shoplifters. They break your stuff and they come back and then they need love. If somebody had a friend of mine broke my stuff and came over and asked me to love on him, I would be upset with them. All right, moving on. Now you see why I need you guys to sign up for memberships. He's probably going to break that $30 rock while I'm in the video. And so there we go. I have to replace everything in my home constantly. Not to mention the chairs. This chair is a new one. My last one, they put their claws in it and popped about 6,000 holes over 5 years. Boy. I'm getting nervous now. He's up there. All right, let's get back on point here, guys. So, Jordan Bell, should I wait for my SSDI to get approved before transferring? Well, one thing with portability, guys, let's talk about portability. Taking your voucher you already have, you've received, you've been using it, and moving. If you're going to move more than 1 or 2 hours from your home, you want to be very calculated with that. There's lots of risk. A housing authority can accept you and then deny you while you're driving. You don't want to get caught where you don't have something in place when you arrive at wherever you're going to port to. So you need to make sure you're doing careful market research for properties. You need to make sure that you have acceptance by the housing authority, that they're actually going to follow through with it, because there's nothing worse than you burning up all your money sitting in a hotel only to find out that all this was just a big waste of time. So a lot of mechanisms need to be in place. Now, if you're going to move fairly close or in the same city, there's very little to worry about other than just getting the housing authority to follow through, because they're notorious for taking their time to do administrative work, which sometimes they drag their feet around a month. All right, moving on from there, Dawn Gaspini. I tell you, I knew it. I'm getting better at this. We get people from all over the world New York is a popular topic. I keep a map in my office. Y'all can't see it, but every time I talk to people in New York, Jersey, and so on, and I'm not suggesting that you're there from there, Dawn, but I put a little dot on the maps, and we have people all the way from Australia, China, Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan. I mean, any place you can imagine over the years. And you think, well, are these people American citizens? A lot of them have dual citizenship. A lot of them have family here, and a lot of people hire me to help family members that have always immigrated here. So it's interesting. And so my guess in that Italian is pretty good. I think that. All right. Anna Hempel, your manager looks like Stanley Tater Tot. Well, he's actually doing very good. We have a new big Mancoots, and I got to tell you, I've never heard Pops up here howl the way he does. He does not like that big old cat at my home. And so we had a 3 o'clock in the morning battle of screams and terror. While those two what it is, they're trying to sort out their pecking order. I have that same problems with sometimes when clients hire me for casework. And they asserted that they needed a professional to help them, but yet they'll try to dictate that they no longer need my advice, that they now have made me a schedule, and when I'm permitted to call them and how they're going to make everything work, and that I'm just there as the potentially maybe the maid or the lawn man. And it's sad because we have to let those people go. They've lost sight of the goal. So, anyways, just a quick little shot in the dark there. All right, Jennifer Zelensky, I think. Now, my guess is as good as anybody on that last name, if that's the last name, but it's a cool one. Am I being displaced, but am at the top of the Section 8 list? I saw something stating if you have a special medical cannabis card that you can't be approved. Let's talk about scheduled drugs, narcotics, medical use, and the perception, how the feds see it, how HUD sees it, how the landlord sees it, how the state sees it, and whether you should even speak about it. Let me be very clear. You're participating in a federal program. The feds still consider marijuana in any form for any use to be legal, okay? They're just turning a blind eye. Now, the state can approve it. Just like the state of Texas say, I can walk out my yard and kill anybody that walks in my lawn. However, I may be charged with a capital crime at the federal level, you see? So thing about it is, guys, if you have medical use of any type of drug, the best thing you can do, it's not going to help your case, and it's ill-advised to bring it up. Even if your state says it's perfectly legal to go out there and buy it recreationally, medically, whatever, save yourself the trouble. It's a lot like many things. Don't give people any reason to judge you. We already have to deal with prejudicial behavior in the system, bigotry. You add medical or non-medical drugs or anything else to this, whether it's legal or not, there's judgment. And when you leave that into the care of people and landlords, they'll think whatever they want. So my advice to all of you is, if you got to smoke a little to keep you out of pain or because of cancer or other issues, do that in the privacy of your home and just keep it out of the whole subject base, okay? The housing authority can't drug test you, and really it's nobody's fucking business. That's the reality. What you do in your home is your business, and I would keep it that way, okay? Now, see, I'm trying to cut back. I've been dieting, but I'm also trying to diet on bad words, but I'm still struggling. Sometimes when you grow up in a trailer park in South Louisiana, it takes a while to get all that trash out of you. And here I am, almost 50, and I'm still talking bad, but it's a guilty pleasure, I guess. All right, Anna Hippel says, yep. And Isabel Ojo, is an EDU considered a subsidiary? Well, EDUs, for the most part, are state, and of course, EDUs are. That could be a little bit of both, because EDUs are attached to both colleges that are federally funded, state funded. I can say that EDUs, for the most part, are safe unless it's a potential student. Now, we know plenty of student hackers, right? I think, Isabel, best judgment there with EDUs, okay? .gov is highly preferred. Also, you'd want to verify, if you land on a website for housing authority, take the phone number, cross-check it with Google just to see if it's real, okay? Jolie Starseed, man, I love that last name. because you guys have got some wonderful YouTube names. Now, real life, that's not that interesting, right? The F word is my love and language. Well, look, Jolie, you'll quite enjoy me. Think about it as there's everything in this world. There's always something people are gonna be uptight about. Look, you could be too fat, too young, too old. Don't like the way you talk. Don't like the way you look. Don't like the way you brush your hair. I mean, people can find any reason to bitch. So the thing about it is, I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's just how it goes. If that's how I want to run this channel, I'm gonna run it that way. YouTube doesn't seem to have a problem with it, unless they did. They gave me a limit to how many f bombs will be used per video, and I took careful attention to that, and so I'll do that. But I mean, most of these, it is just what it is. I always tell people, just speak to people like people. All right, Laura Bonnet. How can a person over 55 and homeless sleeping in a car get Section 8 emergency housing voucher? I'm in South Louisiana, Lafayette Parish. Now, Laura, I've been to Lafayette. I even lived there for like 4 months. Got friends, got some family out there. I know all about Lafayette. So that would be a continuum of care program and CES. You know what I'm going to do to help everybody out? Let's make Tuesday continuum of care, and I'm going to address both homelessness and emergency housing vouchers as a dual issue. Okay, since this particular voucher. So for those of you that are interested in emergency housing voucher, and don't think too much of yourself. Oh well, I'm not homeless. I'm broke and I'm busted. And I ain't got a lot of money. I'm on a fixed income, but I couldn't nearly be as low as the homeless. I'm always fascinated at people's ideas of how we can actually reach the bottom, but then we're going to judge those within the neighborhood of the bottom. And look, guys, if you need an emergency housing voucher, you're struggling in a car, a shelter, maybe you're living with a mean relative that's trying to indenture you, make you wash and clean the whole house just to have a place to sleep. Check us out Tuesday. We're going to discuss emergency housing vouchers, and I'm also going to address expedited vouchers for the homeless. Do understand, for those of you that are in a safe but yet pressing situation, this may not be the most appropriate type of voucher for you, but it could hurt to hear. Okay. Jennifer, Laura Bonnet, sorry for your situation. Thank you. See, that's somebody caring about another person, and in our own channel, I can certainly appreciate somebody like that. Deborah Marshall, my husband is 68 and has cancer and getting chemo. I called HUD and I told them did they take HUD, and they told me no, we'll pick your apartment. You know what, Deborah? I'm not quite sure because the way that you framed that question, and also I slightly struggle with reading the stuff. As you'll notice, I don't have my glasses on. They're due. I actually got to go get them today. Deborah, I would tell you to reach out to me, because if I actually recommended anybody to book an appointment, I would certainly recommend you do. Okay, if you don't have the money or don't want to do that, I understand that. I'm not going to press you, but I think that can be fixed and actually expedited. Okay. Moving down, Laura Bonnet, thanks. Isabel Ojo, I'm also 29 with a disability. Check, am I able to get housing? I want you guys to be keenly aware. I know a lot of us believe when we discuss seniors, disabled, and veterans, many of you believe fundamentally that it doesn't count towards you. Look, you could be 18 and have MS, MD. You could have serious brain injury, all kinds of things. So yes, Isabel, age, you get a small priority, obviously, for being a senior, but you can just as easily get a voucher. So I don't want you to give up hope just because you're 29. The facts of your case and how you're structuring that case and where you're applying and what you're looking to get will strongly will affect how you get this. Your age, let me tell you something, guys, your age isn't going to disqualify you. I've had very, very young people. I've had children that aged out of home groups. Maybe they were adopted by a family. They put them out the door at 18 with no chance or hope, not even a pair of wheels to drive. And I've had to help them. Do not be ashamed if you're young and you got some issues that are setting you back ever. Okay. You need the help, reach out to us. And I'd like for you to see you guys Tuesday so we can discuss further what can be done. All right. Man, we did. That was a lot of questions. I'm very, very happy with the way this turned out. That you guys are finally coming out of the darkness and speaking. And for those of you that are still in reserve, still watching and listening, we're hoping you come back. Come back Thursdays and Sundays, 2 p.m. Central Standard. If you're an early bird, you'll catch me 10 or 15 minutes before that. Okay, if you want to get a little bit of me time before it gets hot and heavy in here and a lot of questions. And look, guys, don't let me and some of my southern ways and language run you off. The importance here is, despite my own setbacks, what's important to understand is you can look on Google, Yahoo, anywhere you want to look. You'll find out very quickly that I am definitely the most well-known and most respected section and consultant in the nation. There's no second to me. You can go look for yourself. We get reach out, and this is not an attempt to put a chip on my shoulder or make myself sound important. What I'm trying to convey is if I can talk for an hour straight, if I can verbatim federal code, that I must know what I'm doing. And over 1,000 people a year trust us. Does that mean? And I want to make something also clear. Does that mean that every case we deal with goes perfectly? No, it doesn't. In fact, one of the things that I admire most about our abilities is to admit our faults, mistakes, and sometimes when cases don't work out. That lets you know that you're living in the real world, because only a consultant that sells fantasies and rainbows to clients would suggest that every outcome is perfect. But the goal, obviously, for most people is to keep going till we're able to achieve a result, as long as clients remain respectful and dignified in the way they do it, and that they participate equally in their own case. I know we are in a society these days where Amazon has taught us, like small toddlers, that we can have our toys within 24 hours. And I think a lot of people book our services thinking, oh, well, should I get things from Amazon in 24 hours? And when I complain, I get a refund. I'm not going to play that game. I'm not Amazon. We're not going to go through that refund game. I'm not Walmart. I'm not taking any losses. I'm not going to tell my employees, hey, by the way, remember that check you cashed last week? They'd like a refund. So I need everybody to bring $11 back to the office to repay these people. I'm not doing all that jazz. My suggestion is due diligence. If you have faith and have an understanding of what we do, then pay for the services. Most people don't have a fundamental problem. I don't see anybody screaming at the top of the lungs in this live chat that's unedited that they have a fundamental problem with what we do. So, all right. Anyways, let's move on from there. Now, guys, I want to give you guys a warning. I'm not here in Houston, Texas. We're being hit by temperatures that are extremely cold. Now, I know that's almost laughable to most of you that live up north. You're thinking, oh, well, I'm in 11 feet of snow. It's minus 40, and we're sunbathing in the front lawn. What is your problem, Jay? Why do you think that you're special down there? Huh? Did you get a snowflake on your hair? No, it's not that. It's just that we're not set up for this type of thing. We're a lot like beach whales. We're used to the sun. So what I'm conveying is we may have some struggles if ice hits our phone lines and our highways. I mentioned that people, like in many places on earth, people out here drive like assholes. And if you add ice, then you find assholes in a ditch, right? So we're probably going to experience a lot. So I'm going to let you know, for those of you that are going to attempt to reach out to our office Monday and Tuesday, there may be a problem with internet, phone, or even lights. And that's just a real problem because Texas is not designed with snow in mind. And for those of you that are up north that are dealing with severe temperatures or sleeping in cars, please go to a hot shelter or a warm place. I don't want you guys expiring over a storm. I'm very, very worried right now, and I've been making some calls to a lot of clients that are homeless because this is very, very dangerous when we have these Arctic winds. Remember about 2 years ago, we had it happen. I had a client die. It wasn't dying because I gave them bad advice. They lived a long time. They felt their judgment was better than mine, and they chose to sleep in a car. And that person passed away. And the sad part was, our office was able to obtain their voucher like 2 weeks later because they were just simply too fixed in their ways. So please don't take those kind of risks, okay? I don't want anybody that's at the edge of reality right now or downtrodden or making bad decisions. So if you don't have a place you can go, at least try to go sleep in the ER. There are solutions to get most of you guys out of the car, and it doesn't include having to go through a bunch of drama dealing with 211 and 311. Those circuit clowns, I'm telling you, those are like circus clowns. They give them a keyboard and an internet connection, and this is all they do is they get on Google and give you some crazy advice and a broken phone number. It's like talking to a person that's already suicidal and desperate, and then willfully knowing that you're going to give them some bullshit advice with a broken phone number to see if you can get them to jump off the bridge. That's what I compare the absolute unnerving reality of dealing with 211 to. It's a fabulous waste of federal money. It's a waste of state money, and it's a big fucking joke. You know, and the people that work there must know what they're doing. It's risky. You don't go out there and already take somebody that's on the edge asking for help and then give them some worthless ass advice. And so be careful dealing with 211, 311 in terms of housing. Maybe they're great at everything else. All right, Jordan Bell. I want to move Key West, Florida. Who the hell don't? So you want to pop your voucher down to Key West? Well, look, everybody wants to put their toes in the sand Hawaii too. Don't mean you should, brother. Look, Jordan Bell, I can appreciate you wanting to go down there to Key West, but look, the cost of living is absurd. Unless you want to end up with a rum bottle and take a shower in the ocean every day, I can tell you the shelter only takes about 100 people. There's a lot of homeless out there. I hear the change cups do get filled during the summer, but what you going to do in the off season, Jordan? If you've got good money and you're receiving you're working or you've got a Social Security check or fixed income, it might be a possibility, Jordan. And I don't know your situation, and I'm not trying to make fun of you. I was just really just trying to make fun of the Key West concept. But just if you have the right financials for that, then go ahead. So just be careful, okay? Mama Moonshine. Now that sounds very West Virginia. I hate to be prejudicial against the state, but Mama Moonshine says -50 below with a wind chill here in Atlantic Northwest Minnesota. Now Minnesota, you guys, it'd be similar to me taking my cats, and then we would just open up our deep freezer and then just put my pillow and blanket in there, turning it down to absolute zero, plus 40. I don't know how people survive that. Could and you can't even take your car out to get food, right? Because McDonald's is under 38 feet. And even if you could, the drive through window is literally frozen shut. It's like life or death in Minnesota. And so you're going through the serious situation. So it's already always serious in Minnesota. Now it's double to nothing. Tell us how deep the snow is out there, Mama Moonshine. And you're kissing the Canadian border. Boy, you got to admire those Canadians. You wonder why those folks are so much whiter than we are. That's because they ass are so deep in the snow out there. Man, you know why Canada is at the top of the world. But I do love my Canadians. So, Joy Henson says I have a 90-day notice and need to find a new apartment here. Joy, let's talk about notices and some of the clever deceptions behind notices and what's legal and what's not. A lot of you guys fall prey to this. How do I know this? Because not only do I consult those that need vouchers and legal aid societies, attorney offices, counselors, caseworkers, nonprofits, but we deal with hundreds of landlords every year, and I know some of the wicked little tactics they use. First thing we should be aware of: a landlord may issue and print out what they call a notice to vacate, generally 1 or 2 or 3 days. Now, that is a request. The only person that can order you vacated is a judge. So, unless you've had a court date to vacate, then it carries no weight. It's toilet paper, okay? Number two, you'll get an eviction notice. And that eviction notice, a piece of paper or electronic communication. One thing I want to make very clear about these: there's a lot of smart landlords that figured out if they run down the courthouse, get the physical paperwork, fill everything out, that they can cleverly, for those that aren't clever, you'd realize very quickly that if they just tape that paperwork up, it gives you the perception it's been filed. It hasn't. I tell my clients, you've been served with eviction, call that county courthouse and see if they actually paid to file it, and you start to see the game. Also, the notice to vacates, that's a request, and again, I would compare it to used toilet paper. It means nothing at all. In fact, when you receive those kind of notices, they tape it to your door, let the wind blow it off until you actually have somebody that process serves you and you've had your day in court. All that other paperwork is nothing but kindling. All right. Let's see. Annie Happel, Cutie Pie 509. I have not seen any other messages from you. Yeah, we've not. You know what? I started seeing Cutie Pie in our video the other day. The person that goes by that name. I hadn't seen him. Okay. Isabel Ojo, in your opinion, is Northern Virginia hard to find housing? I would say it comes down to seasons, and it also is dependent on a lot of factors. Barring no pandemics, nutty weather, and we don't have an elected official that hates programs. I would suggest to you that most of Virginia would be pretty fair game. They're not on our company's radar, and we keep statistical data for 20 years and 1,000 clients plus a year. So I got a pretty good heartbeat of America when it comes to terms of states. We keep the data. Virginia, in my opinion, is not on a high difficulty level. On a scale of 1 to 100, I put Virginia as a difficulty or pain in the ass level, probably at about a 60. Okay. All right, I'll take a sip of coffee. Boy, you guys are really, really good, doing good with the questions today. I'd start charging a quarter for every question. Mama Moonshine goes on to say, some of my ancestors landed in West Virginia once upon a time, and they grew tobacco and indigo. Well, like most countries, America has a pretty shitty past. We used to do lots of horrible things, like ship people from Africa on boats. We tried to indenture the Chinese. Uh, then there's people that have a problem with the gay people. I mean, every issue that can come up has come up, and throughout history, especially America, we're kind of like a hot pot for. Um, we can divide a nation in half, and then when we're not happy with dividing it in half, then we'll take that and then we'll find a new way. Now that we've got the half that we want, we'll take and slice that in half and become an enemy of what's left. You see the problem with this? Nobody's ever happy, no matter what the resolution is. So I'm sorry to hear all that drama happen back then. Cutie Pie left us $1.49 in the super chat donation. I appreciate that. And Papa's, the cat we've been seeing largely in the video today, says thank you. That's his bag of treats for the day. Auntie April, I like that. I like the way you spelled auntie too, because that's how we used to say it down in Louisiana. My chat is being blocked. Let me check and see, Auntie April, why that is. Let's see if it has anything to do with me. Report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user in this channel. Nope, it ain't got nothing to do with me. And Cutie Pie, I do see your comment and your rainbow. So I see your donation and your rainbow. You're good. You're good in our channel. And I also see the secondary comment with your badge. You have a badge in my channel. There's no way you could be blocked. I think the problem is, Cutie Pie, occasionally YouTube delays comments and they don't give an explanation as why, but it's not me. My hands are free. So I do see all your comments there. So you're good. So we'll give you a little hearts up here. Well, I'll give you 100%. How about that? All right, guys. Well, you know what? I've really enjoyed this. This is a comfortable, very good toned video. And I know it's kind of started out rough and we've been all over the map, but that's part of the consulting work I do. It's what makes me me. If you want me to act and do differently or wear different clothes or do different things, then you're probably in the wrong channel. We move things around. The primary purpose is to teach, to educate, and to empower. And while you might appreciate every word I say, or every sneeze, cough, or other things, it still remains one factor. We're all here to learn or to teach, and have to have a little appreciation. I know when my mechanic fixes things, I'm completely ingratiated and appreciate that. And so we just have to learn to be better humans and quit being so judgmental. And I'm only mentioning that because of getting trolled recently. And even though I'm a grown man, secretly, when I walk away and I get trolled, I still get pissed off. Okay. Let's just be honest, right? I'm not going to say I walk away and, oh, well, I completely dodged. That one flew over my head. I'm not affected. Of course I get affected. Nobody wants to hear bad things. All right, we're going to finish up with the last two comments here, and then I'm going to wrap it up because we've been on here quite a while. Auntie April was looking up crystals one day and came across an old page of yours. I have a love for crystals as well. I used to own the Houston Rock Shop, which was a crystal gem geode rock shop. Because of the pandemic, making things a mess, and imports, I had to close that. But I do own www.worldcoin.com, and we're still in full development, should be rolled out. But I seriously doubt all you guys that are here for consulting advice are interested in my silly world coins. I wish I sold something that was actually useful to you guys, but that's a whole different audience, right? DJ, my chats are not showing either. Well, DJ, I'm reading your chat. I think it's just delayed. Maybe I have a bad connection today. Jolie Starcy, thank you for your information and kindness. Well, I thank you too, Jolie, and I thank all of you that have taken the time and decency to show up and trade your thoughts, your cares, your concerns, and worries. I'm glad I was able to answer some questions. Jennifer, I have a question above. Let's see. I'll scan back. Jennifer. Ah, there it is, Jennifer. You are right. It flew right past me. Chicago, minus 30, wind chill 14, minus 30. Okay, let's see. Chicago is minus 30, wind chill, and 14 inches of snow yesterday. That's pretty good. I actually paid for that. We so rarely get snow down here in southern Texas. Even a 30-minute snowflakes or ice is usually still gets me excited, just like I'm in third grade again. Now, I know most of you laugh and you sit up there in Chicago. Nobody there really wants to see any snow. You probably had 10 feet of it already. But it's so rare out here, it's still a novelty no matter how many times we see it. And we only get it once about every couple of years and only for a few minutes. All right, now we covered that, I'm going to scroll on back down. Mr. or Mrs. Calvin, I'd like to thank you for the $5, but really, I think that my cats, Little Pops, Little Mama, Big Mama, and then Tom and Tom's daughter, and I'm talking about all the cats here. I'll see if I'm any good. And then there's Little Mama. There's my Siamese, which is Mama Girl. I do a lot of mamas and papas, so tell you what, guys, later today I'll put together a collage of our most popular cats, and I'll stick it up on our community page. If you're wondering what the community page is, you can put it in our description. It's a lot like Facebook, but it's put into YouTube. And I hope to share. A lot of these cats were rescued from really horrifying situations. We've been able to bring them back to the health, completely restore them, restore their soul, their mind, especially the physical parts. And so we'll start introducing them in the video. I think you'll quite enjoy them. And Calvin, thank you again for the $5. I can assure you I won't be in a bar drinking it. It certainly will go to our cats. And I want to thank you again for being the first super afforded to us today. And let's see, DJ, only 2 of 5 show. I really think it's going to be an internet issue, guys. Cutie Pie, please see question above. Did that? Amy Mathis, heck no, we do not want snow in Houston. Well, come on, let's just have a little bit of snow. I mean, I've literally been watching the radar for days, hoping for a flake or two. I'm not saying it's got to be ice, but hell, I'd like to see a little bit of snow. I like to see it when it doesn't knock out 4 days of power in Texas. Let's put it that way. I'd really like a white Christmas, but that's really asking for it. Rob Scott, her question was above that, I think. Well, I tell you what, guys, if I somehow missed your question, I'll make you a priority in our next video, but I don't want to drag this on too long because then people just get bored. I don't want to do that to anybody. So we're going to be back on Tuesday. And also remember, you can comment on our community page anytime. I'm not doing it intentionally. I want y'all to know that. So I apologize if anybody's unable to comment or the comments show up late or not at all. And let's see, Rob Scott, she said she's at the top of the Section 8 waiting list, but has cannabis card. I think I did address that about cannabis and drugs. And you know what we're going to do? Since that's been a little bit of a topic today, what we're going to do is make a video after we do the Tuesday one about emergency housing vouchers and those that are homeless. I'll make our next video partially about legalized, non-legalized, medical and non-medical use of marijuana or other narcotics and drugs, and the perceived outcome of that with different programs. Okay, we'll have to be careful and use a little bit of code language because YouTube will punish you if you use too many profanities or use specific words they may interpret as something a little bit more evil than what it is. Like, you can take a chair and you call it a stool. If a person goes to the bathroom and talks about stools, then YouTube will block that comment. And so the algorithm isn't quite as smart as humans. All right, moving on from there, Mama Moonshine says that sounds like a violation of HIPAA, Rob Scott. And Rob Scott says, was Jennifer. All right, so that's going to conclude today's question and show and tell. We're going to get to do this twice more every week. Again, on Thursdays and Sundays at 2 p.m. Central Standard are going to be lives. Mondays will be a short video, 60 seconds, to describe what's going to happen that week. Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard, we will be doing educational videos. So emergency housing vouchers is going to be part of that, along with many, many other topics. And I'll let you guys know well in advance. We also have a posted video schedule description there. And look, enjoyed having you guys. And I want you all to go out and try to enjoy a safe but very frigid, cold couple of days, unless you live in California or the tip of Florida, like Key West. All right, bye for now.